All right, so today I wanted to talk about an interesting story that I seen from Bill Tufts. And he says in Canada, StatsCan says there's over 300,000 businesses that have died this year. And again, that is a very astounding number. I've been, I've been following this stuff pretty close, and I wouldn't have guessed nearly that high if I would have had to guess. So that is an incredible um, amount. Now, again, will some of them come back? Yeah, that's for sure. Some of them will come back, but most of them won't. I don't think most of them will. And again, that's not including the ones that are going to die after this, because again, we have governments that are still locking down, that are still talking about all these draconian measures. And so again, I think a lot more are going to die going forward. Now, again, this is like I say, this is something I've been bringing up a lot. Now, why is it important? It's important because people don't realize just how I think the reason why more people aren't talking about this more is because most people just don't pay that close attention to this kind of stuff. Most people just they watch the news and they believe whatever garbage the news tells them, right? And again, the news isn't talking about this kind of stuff because can this really scare people? And it can in a way, but it would scare people in the way that is completely against the way that the news wants people to be scared, right? The news doesn't want people to be scared and to have, sympathy for this kind of stuff. The news wants people to be scared and want more government, right? Because you know, that would benefit them more. So again, that is the entirety of what they want. So why is this so important? Well, this is so important because I mean, unemployment is very high in Canada right now. I think we're a little over 9%. And again, the other thing you have to understand when it comes to the unemployment numbers is that the official unemployment rate is a lot lower, or sorry, a lot lower than the actual rate, because the actual rate, or sorry, the unemployment rate, the official unemployment rate, it doesn't include people who have lost their job and who have stopped looking, right? We have these government programs that are, you know, basically paying people to not work. So again, there's a lot of people that are not working right now. They're not working and not looking because the government is basically paying their bills, or if not, close to it. So there's a lot of people in that situation, and not to mention there's a lot of people in the situation of they lost their job and they had to take a different job that isn't as well paying, right? Or maybe it's a job that's as well paying, but not something they like. So again, the official unemployment rate, it doesn't include a lot of stuff that otherwise, isn't a good thing, in that it's a bad thing. So those are some other things people have to take into account. Now, again, what is going to come out of this? Well, what's going to come out of this is that the big corporations are going to continue to gain more and more and more and more, and that is basically the goal. Um, that is basically the goal of this kind of stuff. Coming out of this whole situation, that the goal is to push, the Great Reset. Basically, it's basically the Great Reset in a nutshell. And what is the Great Reset? It's basically pushing further and further to the left, right? Pushing further and further to the left. Why is that? Is because it benefits, the people at the top, right? The people at the top benefit because they gain more. Again, this is another constant lie that the left likes to bring up, or at the very least, I don't even know how much they believe it, but at the very least, they believe it to some extent. In that, they think that, oh, if we push for socialism more, the gap between the rich and the poor is going to get worse, or sorry, it's going to get better. Well, it kind of is, but it also kind of isn't. In that, when you look at these socialist countries, and that basically what happens is that you take the wealth from the middle class and the upper middle class. They never really take the wealth from the super rich, because the super rich find ways around take keep or sorry they find ways around having to give up their money. I mean, like I say, you look in these socialist countries, they still all have their very rich people. The reality is that, like I say, the people that can't fight back, the people that can't get around this kind of stuff, are the upper middle class, right? It's the people that are making, 100, 2, 3, 4, 500,000. The people that are making millions or tens of millions specifically, they can find out ways around it. The Bill Gateses of the world are they going to give up any of their wealth when it comes to this kind of stuff? No, because I mean, number one, they have their ways around it, and a lot of these people, they like to use their charities, right? Bill Gates, he gives a lot of money to charity under trying to convince people that he's this, nice, warm-hearted guy, when in reality he gave the money to charity because so he can make a lot more than that back, right? It is very little to do with helping the poor and all this kind of stuff. But getting back to the main point here, 300,000 businesses. Now, again, this is the thing that you have to ask people, and that is it worth it? Like, is what we have done, is it worth it? And this is the thing that really astounds me, is that I don't understand how people can legitimately say yes to that. Like, I don't understand how you can legitimately say yes to that. The I guess the problem with that being is that the severity of the virus is nowhere near what we originally thought it was. Like, it's nowhere near that. The problem being is that the lockdown zealots think that it's as bad as it's ever been, even though, again, the objective numbers show that that's absolutely not the case. But that's the big problem, and that's the big problem with everything when it comes to this kind of stuff, is that people are in such bubbles these days that it's impossible to get through to them. It's impossible to get through to them, and that is the big problem. Like, that is the big problem. So this is the thing going forward, and that people are going to have to. I mean, I don't think we're going to be able to get away with this kind of stuff for forever. Like, people nowadays, it's basically the epitome of people getting away with the craziness, and that people can live in these massive bubbles and just get away with it. But again, it's not going to last forever. It's not going to last forever, because what we're doing right now, it's it's not possible. It's not possible to continue to keep going the way we're going. It flat out isn't. Because again, the amount of debt, the amount, and here's the other thing too, is that I think that the quote unquote gap between the rich and the poor, I do think that it's an issue. Like, I do think that it's an issue. Not, again, not for the reason that the left would have you think, and my solution isn't anywhere near what the left would have you think, but um, it is an issue, and it's something that's going to continue to get worse too. This is the thing I've also brought up too, is that the problem's not going to get any better, because the people that are coming up with the solutions for these problems, their solutions are only making it worse. Like, their solutions are only making it worse, and that's something that people really need to start to figure out. But the reason why most people aren't questioning it, specifically on the left, is that it benefits them, right? Like, the way that they do it is that, the Justin Trudeau's and these kind of people pushing the Great Reset, to them, I mean, it benefits them immensely, and that they get a lot more power. They get a lot, I mean, money. They'll get money as well, but the main thing is power, right? They get that sense of having power over people, which is incredibly appealing to those kind of people, right? It's incredibly appealing, and it's something that money can't buy too. This is the other thing, people just can't. It just flies in people's faces. Well, why would people want power over other people? Why would they have bad intentions? Again, that's exactly how, bad people throughout history have always achieved what they've achieved, in that they use the naivety of the average person to their advantage, knowing, oh, I would never do that, so I would assume that everybody else wouldn't do that. Well, yeah, that's exactly how they get it done, right? It's exactly how they get it done. So yeah, I mean, it's a very important point to bring up, and it's a very telling stat too. And this is the thing you have to ask people: like, has it been worth it? Like, has it been worth it? And again, I think it's an absolutely astounding no. It is an astounding no, in that the lockdowns have done nothing to prevent cases. They've done absolutely nothing. It boggles my mind how people can still argue with a straight face that the lockdowns have an effect on the spread. It boggles my mind. There is no correlation whatsoever. If anything, there's a negative correlation. And again, that doesn't make sense, but if anything, there's a negative correlation. So again, I think this is a very important thing that, again, people really need to wake up. And again, this is the thing too, for the people that still support this garbage. Like, at what point do you not support it? Like, this is the biggest question that I've been trying to get out of these people, and I still haven't gotten a straight answer, is that at what point do we admit we're wrong? For the people that haven't already admitted that the lockdowns don't work, the mask mandates don't work, like, I'd like to see, like, hypothetically, what would it take for you to admit it? Like, this is the question that I really have. Like, I really have that question. I'd really like to know. Um, so anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you check out those links below. Follow me on those other platforms. Donate if you want to do that. Again, I appreciate whatever support I can get.